You know what? I want to hit 50-second open today. Who's with me?
Right.
And then I didn't no planning.
No plan. Yeah, that's a wish.
Not a Woodstock. Yeah, that's a wish.
That's a wish. That's a wish because.
Ladies and gentlemen, listeners of Bunsburger's Big Ideas, welcome back to the studio. We're here once more, and I still have my lovely co-host.
I don't know what I'm still doing here.
You are still here.
Hopefully the ratings go up, and
hopefully
I'd never come back.
You know, this podcast is for us and by us, and that's the goal here. So we want to spread the wealth and have some fun with everybody on the team. So if you'd like to be on the podcast, let us know. We have a form on our website, or just reach out to one of us, and we'll get you signed up. So we're super excited to have another guest today. Mr. Oscar, how are you, sir?
Good, thank you. How are you? Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for coming.
Heck yeah, our pleasure.
Yeah. It's so fun having guests come on because we get to see everybody's different perspective. And so we appreciate you taking the time to come out and hang out with us for a little bit.
I mean, it's Friday, right? No better way than to come hang out with us.
Yeah.
It is a Friday.
Yeah.
We film all over the place, so these usually come out on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but it's a Friday. It's podcast.
Was I not supposed to say that? Oops.
No, it's okay.
I'm obviously the co-host, guest co-host, so I don't know what I'm doing. So how's it going, Oscar?
Good. How are you?
Good. So welcome to the podcast. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about your history, when you started, and what leads up to your current role in Iron Arch?
Well, I started my career in Moringo at McDonald's as a crew, and then it was getting into the situation that they pushed me a little bit to be a manager soon. So I became a manager in a year and a half, and then they transferred me to Hampshire to be a GM over there after 2 years working in Moringo. And I worked for 12 years in Hampshire, and then they transferred me to Gustav when I was working with Singleton, and they by the Iron Arch, by the stores, so they moved me to Gustak, and I've been working in Gustak for almost 4 years.
Can I say 4 or 5? Because we.
Yes,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years.
So 12 years at Hampshire.
Yes, 12 years in Hampshire.
And then,
as a general manager.
As a general manager.
and then you went from Hampshire to Woodstock.
Gustak.
Holy cow! How was that as a leader? That's a big difference.
It was scary at the beginning.
I'm
It was
sure.
scary at the beginning because Hampshire was not that busy, and when they talking about Gustak, for me it was a monster restaurant because it was not. And then I was struggled a little bit at the beginning because we short in staff and that, but I was like making sure that I have a plan to what I need to be doing there. My first thing was I need to be hiring people because I needed staff for the restaurant. And then, it's when you got the people and most of the people that I hire, you need to work as the one that like the way that you want them to.
Sure.
In the restaurant. I lose a couple of people that were there, but that was something that I was expecting, even with the managers and the crew, that I know that because I'm strict to making sure they're following procedures, and I was like, I'm going to be losing some people from either manager or crew, but I need to hire more people before we came to that end. I was, at the beginning, it was tough, but eventually, because, like always, coming from a low volume store, you always force yourself to work in different areas.
Mm-hmm.
So in Gustak, it's different because you need to manage, not be in a position. And that was the big change for me, to work in a position to start really manage a restaurant, stepping back and not just being in working as a crew person.
Well, and I would say, Oscar, too, that the position you're in, right, is a position. An observer position.
Oh, yes.
Like that is a position. And I think with those smaller volume restaurants, to your point, it's easier to be stuck in an actual food in a bag position.
Yes.
Right. But now that you're at Woodstock, you're able to kind of take that step back and observe your team and coach, and that becomes your position, right?
Yeah.
Oscar, so you mentioned a second ago that when you came into Woodstock, that you knew you were going to lose some people because you were going to keep the standard high.
Yes.
You were going to enforce those procedures that maybe some people weren't cut out for.
Yeah.
We just had an episode last week or 2 weeks ago about high achievers and mediocre performers, and neither of them like to work together. So it's kind of cool that you just naturally came into the restaurant and set that standard and started finding the right people, the right high achievers for your restaurant.
Yeah. And at the beginning, I didn't see a lot of difference between restaurant because I said it's the same job that I was doing in a low volume store, and it's the same thing that I'm doing in a high volume store. The only difference that I need to have more people on the floor to make sure that I'm able to keep it up with the sales that the store was making on those at that time.
Yeah, it is transferable, I'd say.
Sure.
You know? But still, you know, there's probably a learning curve there between, you know, doing smaller volume versus higher volume.
Oh yeah.
You know, not I mean, your shift sheets are double your roster. Would you go from like what 30 employees to?
Well, right now it's 80 with including the managers, but 80 people, for, like you say, 30 people in a restaurant to go to 80, it's not.
That's a lot more people.
And no, yeah, and at some point I have like almost 100 crew working in the restaurant.
That's crazy.
But when you hold that high standard, it's easy to be scalable then, I guess, when it comes to volume.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, because right now the managers that I make when I started is still the managers that are working.
Sure.
I'm not been losing any managers, and that's the thing that I like, because most of the people that they stay with me when I begin in Gusta is still there, and I'm happy with that, you know. But the people that don't want to be at the standards that we have, then if they if they feel comfortable to go, it's fine. But the standards is the standards.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think he kind of mentioned in your intro what your clip is kind of about. So maybe we can just jump right into his clip now. And
Yeah, so it's not necessarily a clip.
That's right.
I'll probably put something in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Oscar's clip / quote is, a goal without a plan is just a wish. And I think that's a really eloquent way of saying, you know, get your shit together.
Yeah, I mean,
And have your plan so that it actually becomes reality, instead of it just being a wish. So tell me more about like why you chose that goal.
I think it's in you know, like in a different aspect, it's always something that you need to have in mind, even running a shift, making sure that you know how many people you need to hire. You need to have a goal, and then what's the plan to get in to be able to hire those people. I think it's in everything. It's not just to run a shift, but I like to put it more of in place when we run in a shift. If you want to be able to get a good results, a good targets, you need to have the goal, but not just the goal wishing at the end of the shift that you're gonna make. It's making sure that you communicate what's your goal to the team, making sure that you update your team, and at the end you will get the results.
So Oscar, you're telling me if I was a shift leader and I showed up to my shift, I didn't have any shift sheet done, I didn't do a pre-shift, I didn't do my DSPG, and I was just like, you know what, I want to hit 50-second open today. Who's with me?
right.
And then I didn't no planning.
No
outside of
plan.
that? Is
Yeah,
that gonna happen?
that's a wish.
Not a Woodstock. Yeah, that's a wish.
That's a wish. That's a wish, because you're not prepared for your shift. If you have to be running in the back because you didn't use your checklist, you didn't know that, or you didn't check that you did not have enough cups, enough product, you have to multiple times go to the back, bringing that to the front, and then you lose seconds on that. So you add in those seconds to the customers that are in the window instead of you prepare before your shift. That's that, and then you don't have your shift sheet, and then crew person show up. Like, what I wanna be? You just like, okay, wait a second right here. Let me find out a place
And then they're
for
in
you.
back doing dishes, and we don't know where they're at because
Yes.
they're hiding. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a specific example of having a good plan and executing that plan effectively with your team?
Well, one of the things that I have, it's last week we have a Gustav Fair.
Oh, sure, the fair.
On a Friday. There was a Friday. After peak, that usually after peak we start taking the stuff. We don't need it back to start washing. Even though we are a 24-hour restaurant, we still
Sure.
need to wash, clean grills and all that stuff. So I talked to the manager, the kitchen manager. It's okay for right now to close the second side. Let's start cleaning the grills. Let's continue with your breaks. But at 8 o'clock, I need you to open the second side. And she was like, Really? Yes.
You're crazy.
Yeah, like peak it's already over. So why you want to
Sure.
open the second side again? So well, it's gonna be busy. It's gonna be busy. So at 8 o'clock, I need you to go back and open the second side, and I don't want you to close the second side till the lobby is closed.
And which is what?
Yeah,
11?
11
o'clock, okay.
So it was 3 hours that you need to open second side. I said, okay, and we already prepared extra buns. We pulled out extra buns. We got extra prep. But I just want to let you know that at 8 o'clock, you need to open.
All hands on deck.
Yes.
And I want to just make a point too for maybe people who don't know. So the second side is when the volume of sandwiches becomes too much for one side of
Yes.
the restaurant, right?
Yeah,
can't keep up.
correct.
So being able to open up that other side of the table, they're able to serve more people and serve people quickly.
Yes.
Yep.
Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, and then I did the same thing to the leader, the shift leader. Hey, start using your breaks and clean it. But at 8 o'clock, I need everybody in position. So at 8 o'clock, everybody in position. I come to the front. Okay, everybody's in position. Kitchen is everybody in position. But then the first 20 minutes, everybody is watching each other because it was not that busy.
Oscar's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what they're thinking, right?
And I was like coming to the front, going to the back, and people watching me and say, why you asked to open second side? Because for me to able to go to the front, I have to go pass through the second side. And the people right there just watching me like, yeah, why you just open second side? And then suddenly after the 20 minutes, there's people start coming in and start getting busy. And then we didn't stop till 11. And then from 7 to 8 that we only make sales from $820. We ended up making for the last 3 hours $4,300.
Ooh, man.
Over $1,000.
That's over $1,000 an hour.
That's
Yeah, that's awesome.
In average, it was $1,400, but we start with $1,200 the first hours, and then $14, and then $16 at the end.
Right.
16. So 16 at the end.
At the end.
Yeah, the last hour was the
last
busiest.
hour.
It's a good
Yes.
thing you're inside too open.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, during that first 20 minutes from 8 to 8:20, did you ever have any doubt as the leader?
Yes.
Like, tell us how that
it was
feels.
like-
And
it feels like, oh my God, maybe I took the wrong decision open second side because now how's going to look the labor? Thinking about the labor because
Sure.
we got extra people, a lot of people in each position, and then you start thinking about maybe this was not the right idea. But I need to stick to the plan. If I really want to make the goal of the sales, because I was checking sales for last year, and I that was something around 330.
So you broke last year's goal?
Yes, yeah, for more than $1,000 sales. But
so
that's-
you kept yourself true to your plan because you had that goal of beating last year's
Yes.
sales, and nothing was going to stop you.
yeah.
Even the little guy on your shoulder saying, "Oscar, we don't need side 2 open."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you ignored that. Pink.
Yes.
And then you kept it open and you
keep
crushed it.
open,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Well, sometimes you have to be, you need to trust in what you're planning. But that's like, it's a goal. It's not just a goal if you don't plan. Stick to your plan, and at the end, you will see the results.
Yep.
Straight and narrow. You just hit like I love that you shared this quote and you had this story to really show our listeners the impact. Because I'm literally watching this like as a movie in my head. I don't know.
Me too.
But I'm envisioning, the restaurant, and people are like, "What is this guy doing? Why is Oscar telling us we're just sitting around?" And then all of a sudden, you just get
Boom,
slammed, and you're making money, business is running, and everybody. I imagine it was a pretty happy shift too, right? 'Cause
And
you had
that's the other thing. That's the other thing, because I was walking through kitchen and service, walking to see what was going on, and I see the people in the kitchen dancing and
Yeah.
making jokes and that stuff, and I said, well, this is what I want to see, instead of not being prepared for the shift, and then boom, we got all these people and everybody gelling because we don't have this product. We are waiting for nuggets. We waiting for meat. We waiting for fries and
Sure.
that stuff. And then we're not ready. Instead of seeing happy faces, you see frustration in the crew because you're not ready for those sales.
I can see it clear as day. It's crazy. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that story. I appreciate that. And that was, you said, what, last week?
Last week. That was last week, and Friday and Gustav for. Well, that was McHenry, county fair.
Sure.
But they make it in Gusto.
Yeah. Yep.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing. And before we kind of wrap up today's episode, Oscar, between your story and your quote, to our listeners or our team members at Iron Arch, what piece of advice would you give them, when it relates to what we've talked about today?
That always plan what you wanna do. Is not just make the goal and then wishing at the end. No, you need to make sure that you have a plan for that. Even you're running a shift. No, I don't know. It's just it's a lot of stuff that you can plan to make sure that you make the goal.
So, for example, our shift leaders, what can they do?
Making sure that you got your floor plan. It's 24 in advance. Making sure, I know, there's people, something happened the next day, but it's less stuff that you need to do. It's just make one switch, a name or things like that, but making sure that you got your floor plans done. Make sure that you prepare before your shift with a checklist. Making sure that you got everything you need up front and at the middle of the rush, you have to run in the back for product. So, and the other thing is to make sure that you huddle with your team. Make sure that you talk. Take your time to talk to your team 1-2 minutes.
Yeah, we don't.
No, and usually we yes, okay, you're gonna be there and that's all. No, you tell them what you need. They're gonna be doing. What's the secondary duty if it's not busy? Because sometimes the people really wanna do something, but if you don't tell them it's not busy, clean this area, you have to be helping over here. If you see that it's, for example, as the delivery for the people that is in front corner, if you don't have crew customers, if you see a drink, come and help us making those drinks at the lobby. So tell them because they really
want
to
do.
Yeah.
Right.
And those huddles are a good way to kind of set those expectations before and after the shift.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome, Oscar. I appreciate the knowledge, that you've shared today and the experience that you have at Woodstock and with Iron Arch. And we're just excited to, again, share the knowledge with our team. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks, Oscar.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. Make sure to listen, learn, lead. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.